Excellent, thank you. So welcome once again. My name is Purity Kigwaka, and I'm a staff at the World YMCA, and I will be walking us through this session today. But I'm also joined by two of my colleagues from World YMCA, Marie-Chris and Kathleen, and so you will be hearing from them in the course of today's session. But yeah, feel at home. Please let us know where you're joining us from on the chat. Please share your name and which organization and country you're joining the session from on the chat so that we can know who is in the room. And my colleague Marie-Chris will be with you on the chat in case you have any questions. She will flag them with me. So we'd like to kick off our session, and I'd like to invite my colleague Kathleen to share some opening remarks. And yes, so welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Purity, and hi to everyone. If we haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'm Kathleen with World YMCA, and I lead our global partnerships, including this one, at least at the steering group level, on the Global Youth Mobilization Initiative. And together with Purity, we are so proud to represent YMCA in the Global Youth Mobilization Initiative for so many reasons. There's a lot of visibility for us as a part of GYM, and there's so much interest in YMCA and having YMCA on board as a part of this European Union funded initiative. At least this version of GYM is funded by the European Union, and so we're really proud of that. So I'd like to thank you very much for being here, for taking the time as we prepare to launch the second call for the network solutions that are part of the Global Youth Mobilization Initiative. For those who are a little bit new to this, GYM is more than a funding mechanism. It's really a movement that puts young people at the center of shaping solutions for their communities together with YMCA. And it reflects the very heart of who we are as YMCA. So this next call is a chance for you, for YMCAs, to bring forward bold, youth-led ideas that respond to real sustainable development challenges in your communities with funding, support, and a lot of global visibility as well. So as some of you may have heard already, the YMCAs that are selected for this for the GYM funding will not only implement these incredible projects together with young people, they'll also become models for our movement and give us, those of us who are in a bit of an external fundraising and communications role, an opportunity to really showcase and share with the world what YMCAs are capable of and what it's possible when we trust and invest in young people. So we see this as very much a launching pad with the most successful initiatives from this round, as mentioned, being showcased to demonstrate what we can do and to help us mobilize more and new funding for youth-led solutions and for YMCAs as we move forward. So I'm really excited about this meeting, and thank you again for joining. We can use this meeting as an opportunity to align, to learn, to exchange ideas, and to build, as we move forward, a wave of action for youth empowerment within YMCA and around the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. We really appreciate you sharing those encouraging remarks with us. And we see that we have people from all over the world joining us. We have guys from Philippines, from Kosovo. I've seen guys from Indonesia and Nigeria. Please welcome, feel at home. We're going to, walk through the session together, and we will have pause points to take any questions you may have. And also at the end, we'll also have a moment where you can ask questions. But we will also be sharing other spaces where you can get additional information about this funding opportunity. So I'll dive right into the PowerPoint for our session today. Just give me a second and I will put it up again, and then we can continue. As I said, my colleague Marie-Chris is on the chat. In case you have any question, in case you can't hear me well, please just alert her, and she will let me know if I need to adjust. Again, if you go to the closed caption section at the bottom of the screen on the right, you'll be able to select a language that you can get some basic interpretation or translation for the content of today. So as Kathleen has already mentioned, today we'll be discussing the network solutions, which is part of the EU's Youth Empowerment Fund and is implemented through the Global Youth Mobilization, for which World YMCA is a part of. So we are already doing the introductions, and I've had some opening remarks from my colleague Kathleen. Please share as you come into the room in the chat your name and the organization you're coming from and the country. We'll be looking at what the Youth Empowerment Fund is and what the Network Solutions Fund is, and then looking at what this cycle 2 will require from us. So as mentioned by Kathleen, World YMCA is part of the Global Youth Mobilization, and with funding from the European Union's Youth Empowerment Fund, we are implementing this second Youth Empowerment Fund program. And the intention is for us to reach young people from underrepresented backgrounds, and we want to be able to provide them with resources for advancing the Sustainable Development Goals. GYM was launched in 2023, and this is a second iteration of the Global Youth Mobilization in partnership with the Big Six. The second one was launched in October 2023 and will run up to 2026. And so we are sort of in the middle of it. And so we are really looking forward to how we can collaborate in making this initiative a success. So about the network solutions, it's an activity under the Youth Empowerment Fund funding that the Big Six are implementing. The intention is to increase contribution of diverse young people to the SDGs in their communities and societies, and also to increase the capacity of young people to lead and take action and advocate for their needs. So you will hear me say in the presentation about how we anticipate that through your programs, you're able to demonstrate youth leadership of the initiatives and youth leadership of the activities that you will be proposing. So, and for network solutions, there's a specific attention to projects that are related to inclusion and climate, and there is additional guidance that's given for how we expect to see that in your projects. So this is our second round of network solutions. In 2024, we launched the first network solutions in July, and our Ds began their work in January of this year. And what you have on your screen is a list of the YMCAs that were successful in their applications and the type of projects that they are implementing. We have Cameroon, who are setting up a waste management unit and implementing some climate action training with young people in the capital city. In Kenya, they're starting a hub where young people can learn about digital skills and can access opportunities in the green economy, as well as champion for mental health awareness in about 4 specific areas in Kenya. Kosovo is also working on promoting sustainability and environmental initiatives. Key among them, urban gardens, and these are activities that are just getting off the ground now. And you can see the other projects that are in Togo, Sierra Leone, Zambia, and also our Latin America and the Caribbean Alliance is implementing a mental health project with 3 countries in their region. So you can see sort of the spread of projects in a way to give you also an idea of some of the projects that you can create together with young people in your YMCAs or in your organizations. So for Network Solutions Cycle 2, I'll be now delving into what are some of the requirements for our applications. So we launched this on 7th April, which was last week, and this opportunity will be open until 18th of May, 2025. So we have about, now it's down to about 5 weeks to make your applications to the online system that I will be talking about later on. And this is our first information session, and there's possibility for a second information session a little bit closer to the deadline. But in the meantime, on our socials and on our website, we've provided an email address in case you have questions in between information sessions. Please do not hesitate to contact us through the email address that has been provided. Then we expect that we will do a project evaluation and due diligence checks between 19th May to 27th July 2025. And there in between, before we announce, we are likely to ask for some additional information from some of you based on the potential for success that your projects show. And then we anticipate that on the 4th of August, we are able, or on the week of 4th of August, we are able to announce the successful applicants, and by the 18th, launch project. So these are tentative timelines based on how the process goes and the number of applications we have. If we have more applications, it means we might require a little bit more time to evaluate the projects, but we will provide the necessary information in good time. So in terms of eligibility, you can see on the screen that we have local associations. So local associations, some of you may refer to them as branches in your country. And we are opening this up a little bit more for local associations, but they must receive an endorsement from the national movement. And I'll be talking a little bit about that later on in the presentation. And then we have national movements. And for national movements, it's important that you're up to date with your World Alliance Fair Share. And at best case that you're up to date up to 2024 with your fair share. But we will have some flexibility here, and we will be expecting that if you are not up to date, that you can present a plan, a payment plan of how you intend to, catch up with your fair share arrears. But yeah, the best case is that you are up to date by 2024 as of last year. Then the opportunity is also open to area alliances. For area alliances, we are keen for them to apply for multi-country projects with at least 3 countries. And then youth and youth groups that are able to get an endorsement from national movements. Now, the endorsement for youth and youth groups and local associations is important because the World YMCA will only sign a grant agreement with a national movement. So as a local association or as a young person or a youth group, your grant agreement will be signed by the national movement, your hosting national movement. So for this case, and even for the national general secretaries that might be on the call today, we are encouraging you, because you may receive requests from organizations like youth organizations or youth groups that you have not worked with before. And we are encouraging you to do your due diligence. You're not under any duress to give an endorsement, especially with an organization that you have not worked with before. But we would like you to encourage any youth or youth groups that you have been working with to apply for this opportunity. We see it as an opportunity to deepen your work with these youth groups and to also deepen and widen the type of work you're working, the type of work you do with your national movements, increasing collaboration and also visibility of your work through these collaborations. So so please do your due diligence before you accept to endorse. The best case scenario is that you as a national movement are applying on behalf of this young person or youth group with a clear agreement between yourselves of how you will do the grant administration. So by the time we are signing an agreement with you on behalf of your local association or on behalf of your youth and youth groups, we want you to be confident that you have the right structures in place to ensure that the project is successful, that there's mutual benefit between you and the young people or the youth group and your local association, and that the project is able to achieve its objectives with minimal administrative challenges. I see Eddie's hand is raised. I can pause there and take your question, Eddie. Please go ahead.
Hey, Pierre, it's good to see you. Thanks to you and the team Also, greetings to Mary Chris. Just a very quick question from our perspective in Kosovo. We are obviously in cycle one, as you mentioned. We had an idea to work with another big European national movement for this, but we were just wondering, are we eligible or not due to being in the first cycle?
Okay, so I think it depends on how you approach it. You can apply together. I would advise that the big European or YMCA, if they are on the EU list, they can apply, because then they will be new to us, because at the moment you are the only ones in the European area who have received the funding. I think you would still be considered, especially because of the collaboration with another YMCA. Yeah, but the intention is that, of course, we will be giving first priority to national movements that have not received funding yet. Yeah, from this particular opportunity. Yeah. Alfinas, I can take one more.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. It's good to hear that opportunity for our youth, especially also in Indonesia, in our local in Malang YMCA. So one question, actually we already sent. I don't know, this is the cycle one or not, because we already sent the proposal on 24th of March this year, last month. So that is yeah, I don't know, that is the cycle one, or this is the cycle two. Is this the new opportunity for us, or what? Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Alfinas. Thanks for that question. So if you submitted an application online, it is possibly it could have been one either for the open call that was for young people, because the cycle one closed. Ideally, the application platform should not be active. So what I suspect that Alfinas, what you applied for. So there are two. Okay, let me describe it a little bit better. So there are two funding opportunities under Global Youth Mobilization. There's one we call the open call. The open call is implemented by the oversight committee of the Global Youth Mobilization. So the Global Youth, the big six, have a project committee that runs a separate funding opportunity. That funding opportunity is largely tailored for young people, individual young people or youth groups. So so if you've applied for that one, it's probably being evaluated, and you may hear some feedback from them in a few months. Not in a few months, sorry, in a few weeks. In a few weeks, you will hear back from them if you are successful. But this is a separate one. So this particular opportunity is run directly from the World YMCA office. So each of the big six that you see displayed on the logo at the bottom are able to run their own network solutions funding, and they give funding to their national movements, their local associations, etc. So the difference between this opportunity and the one you applied for is that that one is open. It's not limited to. It's open to any young person or any youth organization that meets the criteria that we provide, and is not limited to people who are part, or organizations that are part of the big six. Yeah. So your application has been received, and so a different team will be evaluating those applications, and you're likely to get some feedback from them. Yeah. So that's we call them the projects coordination team, the PCT. They run the open call that is for young people, and then we run the one that is for YMCA specifically. So this funding is primarily targeted to YMCAs, while the open call is not limited in terms of scope. Yeah, I hope that's clear.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and the fact that you applied for that one does not limit you from applying for this one. So you can still apply for this particular one. Yeah. Okay. Great. So I'll move on. Okay. Go ahead, Marcia. Last one, then I can move on to the slides so that I make sure that we cover all the info.
Just a quick one, so that I just wanted to, get clarity here. I see in terms of eligibility, you are saying, national movements can apply and also area alliances. I'm just thinking now, is it possible for a national movement to apply under the alliance and also apply, separately as a national movement for the school? Or when you're then also considering the movements to fund, you also look at that, are they in the alliance or if they applied separately? Just to get clarity on that.
Yeah. So if your alliance wants to collaborate with you on a project, they are free to do so. And if you want to also apply for a standalone project for your national movement, you can do that as well. So there's no limitation. But on evaluation, that's where now there might be some, there might be some rationalization that we might do. But at this point, I think don't worry so much about that. I think the intention is get your projects in and let that be the problem of the evaluation team. Yeah, so if your area alliance wants to implement a project with you, please say yes. And if you have a different idea that you would like to apply for yourselves separately, please go ahead and apply. Yeah,
no, that's fine. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Natasha, please, if you don't mind, you can put your question in the comment section and then I will come to it so that I move along the slides a little bit more. Some of the questions you have might be answered down along the slides. So please put your questions in the chat if possible, and then we'll come to them. So that I can move the slides along and some of your questions may be answered. So I just want to reiterate here again, for your local associations, I don't anticipate any challenges in terms of your national movement giving an endorsement letter. And by giving an endorsement letter, what we mean is that you are committing, if this local association is successful in the application, you are committing to getting into a financial and legal agreement on their behalf with us, and you will be responsible for administering the grant to that local association. Okay? So if your local association has a very unique project they want to implement, please support them to do so. There is time to set up any administrative structures you might need to make it successful. We will try as much as possible support you, make sure that you have the tools that you need to be able to do that grant administration. Okay. So in terms of funding tiers, so for local association, national movements, youth and youth groups, you can apply for between 10,000 euro and 20,000 euros. So 10,000 to 20,000 euros for local association, national movements, youth or youth groups. And then for area alliances, they can apply for as much as 30,000, but their projects must be multi-country with a minimum of 3 countries. And then your project duration should run between 6 to 12 months. In terms of the project, so key project principles, your project is to be strategic. Please look at the guidance that's been given on what the goals of the Youth Empowerment Fund are. It's going to be very important. One, being able to work with diverse a group of young people as possible, making sure that they are leading the project, that they are, they are involved in the decision-making of the project. And also you have components of capacity building of those young people to be able to do that work as part of your project. So one is your strategic positioning will be on how well you are responding to the Youth Empowerment Fund's objectives, and also how it links to your national movement's operational strategy. So yeah, don't let this opportunity be an opportunity to, divert away from already what as an organization you have as your vision and what the changes you want to see in the community. So the project is to be aligned both with your national strategic vision as well as the Youth Empowerment Fund aim. Ensure that your project is achievable. You will be asked to give your objectives or aims, your indicators, you need to make them as realistic as possible. There needs to be a flow in your idea and a clear idea of what success looks like for your project. Then making a measurable difference. Measurability is very important for this program. We want to be able to clearly explain and tell the story of how your project has made a difference, either to the target group or to the community that you'll be working with. We also want you to be as ambitious as possible. Your project needs to come as close as to reaching 1,000 young people or more. So you may need to make your activities simple or few, but allowing you to reach many young people and as diverse a group of young people as possible. And then, of course, we will be looking at value and impact. So include a plan to monitor and evaluate your implementation. We will be talking about also how we'll be asking you about how you intend to communicate this impact to the communities you're working with, to your stakeholders. Where will you be telling the story of the success of your project? So projects that will be funded are projects that, in addition to what I've talked about, the alignment, strategic, achievable, etc., your project needs to be aligned with the sustainable development goals. You'll be required to highlight at least 3 sustainable development goals that your project will be responding to. You will have, of course, what is your primary strategic development, sustainable development goal that your project you will be advancing, and then 2 additional ones. Then projects that support individuals or communities who are underrepresented, you will see in the guidance who is considered to be, groups that the EU identify as being underrepresented or vulnerable. So you will have an opportunity to select which ones your project will be targeting or who will be participating in your project. Then projects that address climate change, environmental protection, and sustainability have an added advantage because this is an area that the EU is committed to advancing. And then please make sure that your projects demonstrate meaningful youth leadership and engagement in decision-making and leadership. This is going to be very important. This last point is really a make or break for your project. So think about, and this is at design and at implementation. So as you design your project, think about how you engage young people. Can you call them for a workshop? Are you able to have some focus group discussions? Are those sessions youth-led? We will be asking you to describe how young people have been part of designing the project, and you will also be asked to describe how young people will be decision makers in the project. Now, projects that will not be funded, projects that are primarily profit-oriented or do not have a clear, social or community benefit will not be funded. Investments, projects that have a heavy investment in technology, property, or office space that do not serve a direct community purpose will not be considered. Projects that mainly involve purchasing materials or livestock where these do not significantly contribute to social goals, as well as projects that are for profit and with no obvious social purpose, or those that intend to use grants as seed funding for other businesses or individuals. So please make sure that your project does not fall under any of these 4 categories that would cause them to be eliminated. So I can pause there. Marie-Chris, maybe you can highlight for me any questions that may have come up. I know there are 2 that I had requested put to the chat.
Yes.
Perhaps you can read them out for me.
Yes, of course. So one question is, how many projects can a national movement submit?
Okay. So we don't want to limit the number of projects, but I would advise, so that you are able to get attention to your projects when it comes to evaluation, I would recommend not more than 3 projects, and try to make them as diverse as possible. Yeah, try to make them as diverse and as innovative as possible. But my recommendation was don't let your applications exceed more than 3. Yeah.
Perfect. So 3 is the number to remember.
Yeah,
Next
3
question coming from Ash. Could you please let us know the maximum amount of funding available for one project so we can align our budget and proposal accordingly?
Yeah. So for area alliances, the maximum is 30,000 euros, but the project must cover at least 3 countries. For national movements, local associations, young people or youth groups, the maximum is 20,000 euros.
Perfect. Now, another question from Macedonia. In terms of eligibility, are we eligible if we are a national movement but not member of World YMCA? Therefore, we do not pay an annual fee.
I would say submit your application. There are, as I said earlier on, we are looking to be flexible. The intention really for the World YMCA is to support as many national movements as possible. If you are a member, full member, you paid up your fair share up to 2024, you sort of get ahead of the list. But that doesn't mean that those who do not fall under that category will not be considered. We are willing to make some exceptions. Yeah, we are willing to make some exceptions. Another option is to also, if you can make your application in collaboration with your area alliance, even better, so that they are, so the issue is about, you know, that's, I love the technical term, but that's administrative accountability, so to speak. National movements have an administrative accountability to the World YMCA, and that's why it is them we want to sign the agreements with. But as I said, we are open to some flexibility. We will be collaborating with area alliances to assess if you already have active youth programs, and the only hurdle is that you are not a full member yet. With the support of the area alliance, we could make some allowances. Yeah. So I would say apply even if you're not yet a full member. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And then one more question from Bangladesh is basically to send all the information, the presentation via email so they can review it after.
Yeah. So we will be sharing, even if not the presentation, but there will be a frequently asked questions, a fact sheet of sorts that will also be available on our website. And as participants in this session, you should be able to access a recording of the session. So you'll have this information that I'm sharing on record as well. But our website will stay updated with information about the opportunity. So look out also for reminders that will be shared on our social media.
One more question just came in from Sodiq. Says, are organizations who are not member of or affiliated to YMCAs eligible to apply?
So no, if you have to be affiliated to a YMCA, even if you're not a member. You have to, even if you're not a YMCA, you need to be affiliated to a YMCA. Yeah, because the fund goes to YMCA and affiliated members.
Great, thank you. One more question coming from Albania. We are one of the 400 youth-led projects beneficiaries. They say that the first installment has not been done yet. Can we apply on this call?
Yes, you can apply for this call. Please apply. Please apply. And yes, with regards to the youth call, the project committee is still working on the modalities for sending you the funds. So you should receive them soon. Just a little bit of patience as they try and complete their administrative processes here. Okay. All right. So let me proceed, and then I'll take another pause before the session is over to take additional questions. Yeah. Oh, what has happened? Excellent. All right, so in terms of requirements for your application, so your application must be submitted through the online application form. So you'll see the link on our website. If you just search for network solutions, you will see information about this funding opportunity. Please apply through the online form. Applications received through any other platform will not be considered. So again, even if you're not a member, because it will ask you questions of, are you a full member of an area? Are you a full member? There's an opportunity to select, I'm not a full member, and you can proceed with your application, okay? So please fill in your application through the online system, irrespective of your fair share status. There is a PDF of the application form so that you can have a look in advance before you start filling the online form. So the questions appear exactly as they appear on the online form. So you can use that to sort of guide your writing so that when you get onto the form, maybe all you're doing is copy pasting onto the form, but please submit your application through the online application form. So the form is editable. So the first time you open, it gets saved on your browser. So make sure you use the same device and the same browser every time you need to access the link for applications. And you can bookmark that link so that you can easily access it in future. So as long as you have not selected submit at the end of the form, you will be able to edit. But the moment you click on submit, your application is gone. And if you need to make any changes, you would have to start the process all over again. Yeah. So for as long as you have not submitted, it remains available to you for editing. But the moment you submit, that's it. So a budget must be submitted with the application using the budget template that has been provided, and your budget must be in euros. So there's a budget template. You will see it even on the application form itself in the introduction, as well as in the section where you're supposed to submit, the budget. Yeah, where you're supposed to upload. So you will see it at least twice in the application form, and on our website, there's a link where you can download the budget template. The budget template also has an example of how you can present your budget. So please look at the example as you prepare your own budget for your proposal. Let me think, there's something else I wanted to highlight about the budget. Make sure that it's in euros. Also, there's information that will be asked about your annual budget for 2023, 2024, and 2025. Please provide that information. It gives us an idea of your capacity to manage the fund that you are applying for. So that's very important information. Fill in the whole, actually even for the online application form, please fill in every section. So even the sections that might not appear as required at the moment, please fill them in because the more the information you provide for us, the better it is to evaluate your project and evaluate your organization. Okay. Then for YMCA local associations or branches, as well as affiliated youth or youth organizations, please make sure you upload your endorsement letter from your national YMCA. I already talked about this. We have already an accountability mechanism between ourselves and the national YMCA. And so that the national YMCA will be carrying the grant administration responsibilities as well as the legal responsibilities on your behalf. Without that, unfortunately, we will not be able to fund you because we are not able to sign a grant agreement directly with a local association or with a young person or youth organization. So some of you who've been recipients of some of our other projects, I think, are already familiar with this. So an endorsement from the National YMCA is very important, and we agreed that for national YMCAs, please do your due diligence, especially for any youth or youth organizations that are interested in applying. Please make sure you've done your due diligence so that you don't have any, especially administrative challenges at the point of implementation. So I want to just quickly walk through what to expect on the application form, but as I said, there's a PDF on our website that you can download to have it with you before you even start filling in your online application form. So there will be an introduction. It will give you some of this information that I have presented in this meeting, and will ask you to acknowledge that you understand what is required of you as you proceed with the application. Then we will ask for the applicant's information, so the individual applying as well as the organization's information. So please put that. I also want to highlight that we will be asking for an additional contact person, because in the past we've had someone apply and then we can't reach them and their organization is actually being considered. So please make sure there's a backup, there's a secondary contact person in your application, and there is space to provide that. Then in the third section, you now will be sharing about your project information, your location, where the project will be implemented, how long etc. You'll be asked to describe the problem that you're seeking to address and your proposed solution. You'll be asked to highlight which SDG you will be advancing. And as I mentioned earlier, 1 primary SDG and 2 others. You will be asked to identify which underserved or vulnerable populations your project will be targeting. And you'll also be asked to describe the expected change you expect to see with your target population and or communities. Then in section 4, not section 3, the next section will be asking you about your results framework. So we'll ask you to share your overall goal, your objectives, activities, success indicators, and estimated direct reach. And then in the next section, we'll be talking about youth engagement. And as I said earlier, you will need to describe how young people led or co-led and participated in the project design. And you will also be asked to describe how youth will lead or co-lead and participate in the decision-making during the project implementation. So youth engagement is key. The intention is that these projects are as youth-led as possible. Then we'll ask you for some information on the capacity of applicants, of your organization as the applicants and collaborators. So for instance, you are applying, let's assume you are applying as the national movement with an intention to implement with a youth or youth organization. So you will need to describe the capacity of this. What makes this youth organization best placed to work with on this particular project? Okay, so again, even your local association will need to talk a little bit about their capacity. What experience do they have implementing this kind of project? And even if you don't have past experience, your experience could be being part of the community and understanding the needs of that community and why that particular problem you're looking to address is important for that community. So it can be capacity in terms of technical capacity, and can also be and also capacity in that particular thematic area. Yeah, and because it's a YMCA fund, we know a lot of the work that our YMCAs are doing, but it's important for you to just elaborate what makes you best placed to implement that particular project, and what makes your collaborators, either it's an affiliated youth organization, this young person you're proposing to work with, what makes them best placed to be part of this project. And then for section 6, you want to make sure you have your attachments. So that's the budget and your endorsement letter. And then in the final section, you will be confirming your obligation. So the applicant needs to confirm that they are authorized to submit an application on behalf of the organization, and then expressing a commitment to implement the project as you have proposed. Okay. Yeah, so happy to take some more questions. So please, Marie-Chris, you can flag some that we have in the chat, and then we can open for anyone else who wants to share their question on mic.
Yes.
So over to you, Marie-Chris.
Sure. Mm-hmm. There is a question coming from YMCA Nigeria asking, is it possible to have one national project and 2 or 3 local YMCA projects?
Yes, it's possible. So you can apply as a national movement, and you can have, a few of your local associations also apply. We say the maximum of 3 per country, please. just to make it a little bit easier for the evaluation team and to, ensure that as many other national movements have an opportunity. So a national movement can apply and can also have local associations apply, but those local associations must submit an endorsement letter, which means that you as the national office are aware that that local association has applied.
Perfect. 2 more questions on the chat, and then we'll give the floor to Alok, who is raising his hand. From Nigeria says, we are a local YMCA in Mada Hills, already working on a climate change project supported by Oxfam in the 3 years. Can we apply alongside our national movement?
Yes, you can apply for a project that is already existing, that's funded by somebody else. It's very possible. So the only thing we will be asking from you is like full accountability in terms of how the funds have been spent. Number one, of course, everyone will have to do that. But in your allocation of activities, if it's possible that you're advancing in as far as locations, so that you have those locations, for instance, that are supported by Oxfam, and then locations that Jim will be supporting, or describe how getting Jim funding will help you increase, say, for instance, the number of young people that you reach or the number of communities that you reach. So we will be looking at the point of reporting, we will be looking for what are unique results arising from Global Youth Mobilization funding. So you need to be able to tell us this is as a result of Jim's support, and this is as a result of Oxfam's support. So to be able to differentiate will be very important. But yes, you can apply for a project that is already ongoing.
Perfect. And the last question on the chat, which was actually from Alok, so maybe that's why he his hand. Yeah. Okay, so it says from YMCA Kutak from India. My question is, what shall be the euro currency conversion as it's a floating figure?
Put it on the budget. I think this is a good time to say that. Put it in the budget. What is the exchange rate that you are using, so that when we work backwards in as far as at the point of funding, we know how much, for instance, in your local, approximately how much you will be receiving, but you will also keep us informed. So put it in the budget just for clear information in the notes. So we are not dictating the rate at this point. So just tell us what rate you are using.
Perfect. Those are all the questions that were on the chat. That's all the questions.
That's all the questions. Okay. All right, great. So please feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions on the email address that is on your screen. Visit our website and our socials for any additional information that we might post there. There will be a frequently asked questions sheet that will be posted on our website before the end of this week. We'll also do our best to make this recording available to you before the end of this week, so that you can access it and you can revisit some of the things that I have shared. But the email address remains open. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Great. So if there are no additional questions, I just want to wish you the very best in your applications. Thank you so much for making time to meet with us today. Looking forward to receiving your applications and giving the evaluation team a lot of work. So thank you so much, and thank you, Marie-Chris, for your help. I'll stop sharing and speak again soon with everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.